toy.
We're wanted men.
I have spoken.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 21 of the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. Jason, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Glenn. How you doing?
I am freaking awesome.
That's my radio voice.
Hey, everybody.
Try to bring the energy early this morning.
Yeah. Oh, been a fun
How was your week?
It was good, dude. It was, I think I say that every week. It was good, dude. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good week. I'm still waiting on some stuff to show up. I made a deal a month or so ago and finally paid it this week. So those things will ship, early next week sometime. So I'll let you guys know when they come in. I finally got my Thrawn. So that was pretty exciting. It's a cool piece. It does have the puppetry vibe to it. I don't know. You get kind of picky with stuff when it doesn't want to feel like it works right or whatever. But I think it's a very limited toy as far as the range of motion that he has, just because of the style of it. And the same day I had my X-Wing from Hallmark show up in one piece. Thankfully, I was real surprised on that. Thrawn show up, and then I had something else that I'd been waiting on that I can't even think about what it is, but I know it wasn't Star Wars related. I had our buddy Blake. He came by the house. He messaged me. He knew I had some Christmas money in my pocket to burn. So he, it did say always dangerous when people.
What a friend!
It always costs me money when he shows up. But he had a 2-1B unproduced from the micro collection that I picked up from him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I guess now I'm going to go down the 10 or so unproduced figures. So, ouch. That's going to hurt.
How many are there? How many of those pieces are there?
I don't know. I know there's 10 in the set, but I don't know how many of each is out there.
I mean, you would think because they're unproduced that they'd be tough to find and there'd be limited numbers. But I don't know. I just would assume that they'd be tough to get.
Right. They are tough, but I mean, you just got to find, the people that have them. And I'm assuming, you could have somebody that's been a collector for a minute and he's just kind of hoarded them.
Yeah.
But I don't know the final numbers on those. I know there's some that are harder to find than others.
Yeah. Going back to that Thrawn and the limited range of motion, range of motion. My son has the Stormtrooper, and you can't make them dab, because their arms don't come close to their face. And I've tried numerous times, and you just can't get them to put their hand to their forehead and their arms straight out to dab.
When I was in Batu, somebody had made them say YMCA, so that was kind of funny.
Oh, that's cool. Like
you said, the arms, they don't move in a circle. I guess, you couldn't take the arm from the hip and in a circle motion, put it up to the head or something. It's like that one joint is glued in, so it's kind of a weird piece,
but it's still cool nonetheless.
It's cool to have some. At Galaxy's Edge, they've knocked that stuff out the park with the merch. And while I was talking to Blake, and just to bring something back up from last week where you had asked me about the unpainted figures, if they were pre-production or just overstock, he said they're just overstock. They're just stuff that never got painted, so I guess they become collectors. Collectors are going after them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Dude, did you see the Gentle Giant stuff that came out?
Yes. The Ahsoka, the Leia, and the Rex.
And you forgot Thrawn.
No, I meant Thrawn, not Ahsoka. I'm still waking up. Hold on, let me have some more coffee.
Well, they did come out with an Ahsoka a few months ago, so I was just going to go with it.
Yes, it's Thrawn. Yeah, it's an animated version of Thrawn.
Right.
It's a hyper-realistic version of Rex, which actually got me really excited about the possibilities in either Ahsoka, the Ahsoka show, to see Rex in live action, because that's exactly what that looked like.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at it from those eyes. But I'm sorry, I'm scrolling Facebook to see if I could find it, and your picture at Disney World came up with the girl's booty in the background.
Yeah, we took that. We wanted a group shot, and so we waited to get the group shot. And this is pre-pandemic, so we had to wait like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and finally it's our turn to take our photo in front of the castle, and we get the shot. We're all feeling great, and then we kind of go our separate ways, and we come home to take a look at our photos, and somebody was bent over in the background picking something off the ground, and they're wearing bright white shorts, so there's just no way to not see the fanny.
And it's a big booty. It's hard to miss. Oh
yeah. God. I got it framed. It's in my living room.
Yeah. With the big booty in the background.
Yes.
I was like,
it's an Easter egg.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. A big Easter egg. Oh, geez. And it was, I was trying to come up with a tactical way of asking about the girl's butt, and then as I scrolled through it, I realized the next picture was a little bit more zoomed in, and then there was her butt. So
yeah.
Oh goodness. But yeah, I was trying to find the Gentle Giant stuff, but go ahead.
Yeah, I thought I would have a quiet week this week, and I had anything but that.
Oh,
I got my incinerator trooper in the mail. For whatever reason, the one I ordered for my son came in a plastic bag, and the one I ordered for myself came in a box, but it was almost like somebody stepped on the edge of the box. So It was almost mint. It's just the side of it is kind of bent, but it's the best case scenario, I guess, when it comes to Walmart, that you have a slight bent in your card. And so on Thursday, Yakface posted that the Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon that was a Target exclusive for $400 was going on clearance at Targets everywhere. So I went on BrickSeek to look it up, and the Target near us at Woodstock had it for $200, but it said they were out of stock. And so I just was like, okay, that's it. I'm just gonna let that go. That's not happening. But then the next morning, DJ from the Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors, he posted that he was able to pick one up from that very same Target, and I'm like, oh crap. So I had to get dressed, and I ran up to Target. We had like $10 off, $100, and we had the 5% off with the red card. So I was kind of compounding discounts on top of that. So I was able to save an additional $20, and nice. I was able to pick up the Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon, the BMF, the big Millennium Falcon, as they call it.
Yes, not another word. Not Samuel L. Jackson.
No. But I'm sure he would call it that too, because it's pretty awesome. I have not opened it.
Are you going to open it?
But I think eventually I will. It's just making room, making space for it. There's a lot of decals, so I have to find the time, because it's something I want to start and finish all at once. I don't want to start it and then leave it and then come back and start it and leave it and come back. So I just need to make sure I have time. But I was watching videos last night of people unboxing it and putting it together. It's got the electronics, it's got the sounds from Smuggler's Run. As you know, I don't like opening things, but when you spend that kind of money on something, the way I see it is, I'm not spending, $200 for a box.
Right.
I want to open it. I don't mind it so much with action figures, because there's a clear bubble and you can see through it and see the figure. Yeah, with these big purchases, I kind of want to open it.
Right. Yeah. If I hadn't had just bought that 2-1B, I probably would have gone up and picked that up. Yeah, my wife was already yelling at me about wanting to buy that Gentle Giant. So, you just got to kind of shut up and
plan this out.
Yeah, plan it out a little bit better. I mean, I did sell some stuff to make the purchase. So, that made it a little bit not as hard.
No, the only other thing that happened was I had pre-ordered the Black Series, Grief Karga, Quill, and Moff Gideon. And those just showed up yesterday. They didn't come in a Hasbro Pulse box. They just showed up. And I didn't get a notification via email, because typically that's what Hasbro Pulse will do, let you know that it's out there for delivery, it's being shipped, and they would go the full steps and also let you know that it's been delivered. And they just, like I said, showed up in an undescript box, and they were in there, and it was just kind of weird. But those arrived as well.
Were they in good shape?
Yeah, they were in great shape.
Awesome.
And they were shipped from Atlanta, not Pawtucket, Rhode Island, which is where I think they typically come from.
Interesting.
No, Jonestown, Pennsylvania is where they normally come from. This came from Atlanta, so I don't know if they have distribution centers opening up in other places now.
Did you see the Star Cruiser pictures?
I don't know if I have.
Okay.
No, what about it?
They just showed like the room, showed pictures of the room.
Oh, yeah, I did see those.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh D'Amaro, who was the president of Disney Parks, was in the rooms taking photos, and yeah, it's pretty claustrophobic.
Yeah, to say the least. But you're not paying to stay in your room, man. It's sort of like, I guess, like a cruise ship, you're not paying for the room.
Right.
I mean, they look cool, but
absolutely.
I want to see what the rest of that thing looks like, and I want to see what they're going to actually be charging and how long it's going to take to get a reservation for that. And yeah, if I can talk to wife. Well, she already knows. Like, she's not interested in going. So she's like, you and your buddies go, have fun.
Who's gonna sleep in that bunk? I mean, that thing is like 4 feet long.
Yeah, it's small, and it's and it's two people.
Who pulls the short straw?
Right. And who's the big spoon and who's the little spoon?
There's gonna be like some sort of training room where you're gonna use your lightsaber, and there's some sort of outdoor space I saw where you actually go outside, and there's like a training space, and there's actual sunlight that comes in.
Mm-hmm. It kind of feels like a prison a little bit, like the courtyard of a prison or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With all the hype they're putting on that, they better do a good job, especially for what they're wanting to charge for. If it's $1,000 a night, I better freaking, be confused when I get home.
Yeah, I better think that I'm an actual Jedi by then.
I've got like a list of stuff we can talk about it, but it's all speculation. You don't know what's going to happen. Apparently they're going to do a whole Imperial invasion, and it's supposed to be like, Westworld, but with Star Wars and real people instead of robots. So if they can do that, I'd be happy.
So like every 3 days is a new crew that comes on, meaning like new guests, and at some point throughout the 3 days, the Imperials invade the ship.
Yeah, they're supposed. I think what happened, the whole thing of it is that maybe and I'm guessing, and it's also coming off the top of my head, that you train for this specific moment, and then all of it, one day the Imperials come in and attack the ship. So then you gotta, or pirates or whatever, and you gotta, defend it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never considered any of that. So that's awesome.
Right. So I'm hoping it'll be cool. I hope to do it one day. But shit, I don't know.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But my wife looks at me when we go to Florida or when we plan a trip to Florida, and I'm like, I want to go to the parks, and she's like, have fun. So she she goes every couple of years. I want to go. If I'm in Florida, I want to try to make it at least one day to the parks.
Right. Absolutely. It reminds me when I went to go visit University of Central Florida for like orientation, or no, maybe it was just a tour. So I was living in Miami. My dad and I, we drove up to the University of Central Florida in Orlando. We were traveling I-4 to go to my grandparents who lived in Lakeland after my trip to UCF. Long story short, on the way back from UCF, we decided to just take the afternoon at MGM Hollywood Studios, and we went on Star Tours.
Awesome.
So I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
If I can smell the park, if I'm like 2 hours away from the park, I gotta go.
Yeah.
We were having dinner. I've got the grandbabies this weekend, and we were having dinner last night, and my grandson looks at me and goes, I want to go to Disney World. And I'm like, oh, dude, don't even get me started. And he goes, I want to go. Yeah. I was like, who doesn't? Come on. And I want to go see Star Wars. And I'm like, oh, you little... Right after my heart.
Well, it's funny that my nephew, who we took back in October, he still goes up to his mom, who didn't go with me and my brother and him to Galaxy's Edge. He'll go up to his mom and say, Mommy, you got to go to real Star Wars. And that's how he puts it, real Star Wars.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I picked them up, I had my Galaxy's Edge shirt on. My wife went to Etsy and bought us both Galaxy's Edge shirts. And all it is the Millennium Falcon, and it's not even a good it's just basically a line drawing of the Falcon. And as I'm picking them up, this little girl walks up to me and goes, "That's from Star Wars." And I'm like, there's hope for this generation.
Maybe there is a better tomorrow.
Yeah. It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. It's off key, but those are the words, yes.
Yes.
And I can't do any better, so don't ask.
That was actually a pretty, even, when we went, I told my wife I wanted to do just as much of the cheesy stuff as I did everything else, because that's why you go to Disney.
Yeah. And the next time I go, I think it's going to be tough for me, because the past couple times we've gone has been specifically for Galaxy's Edge. And I think my family's getting they want to go see other things at the park, especially with like Ratatouille opening up. So it's going to be tough to go and not go to Galaxy's Edge.
You got to make it at least one day at Galaxy's Edge, man. Jeez.
There's other merch that I need to buy.
Stuff that they're doing right now in Disney is like, okay, we're going to put a really awesome ride. They're doing Tron in Disney World. I still call it Disney World, and it's Magic Kingdom.
It's the Magic Kingdom, yeah. Don't say that to a cast member. They'll slap you.
My God, people get mad. Yeah, and then they've got Pandora in Animal Kingdom, and then they've got the Ratatouille stuff and the Guardians of the Galaxy in Epcot, and then they've got Star Wars. So they're definitely they're smart because they're spreading it all out. So you're going to have to spend days or get a park hopper if they're going to go back. They do have the park hoppers back, but I don't think it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, the future of all that is going to be awesome too, because there's rumors that Monsters Inc. is coming to Hollywood Studios. There's rumors that the Zootopia is coming to Animal Kingdom, whole Zootopia land. And so there's plenty of expansions going on everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully they can get through it all, and it'll be cool.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the Razor, getting back to Star Wars here. Yes. The Razor Crest HasLab project, and that first tier that they added, the escape hatch, which looking back on season 2 seems like a horrible choice, because that never happened. He never used the escape hatch, so why add it as part of the HasLab tier system?
What's your theory?
I don't know. Like, it just seemed like they needed a play feature, so let's just add that to the piece. And it's just like, I want to see things that were on the show, not things that just came out of your imagination. It's more expanded universe almost than canon.
Yeah. Do you think they kind of did the same thing like back in the day, where they just give them shoot ideas out and then they picked what they wanted, and half the time they're wrong?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe this segment's going nowhere, but I just felt like they could have been more creative, or maybe added a tier at the end and skipped tier 1 and said we're going to avoid spoilers for season 2 of The Mandalorian, but once it's over, we'll add a tier that you'll unlock, and it's like Boba Fett carded or something like that. I don't know. I just felt like it was a weird, or even electronics to the piece. Like tier 1 could have been lights that light up in the engines and sounds and stuff, kind of like this big Millennium Falcon piece.
Right. Does it have? I thought it had lights and stuff.
I didn't think it did.
Okay.
I thought people saw that there in some of the prototypes it looked like there were lights and stuff, but I don't think it does. I could be mistaken.
No, the only thing I can think of is maybe there's just not a whole lot they could have done with the piece more than just throw that thing in it. Say, hey, let's, give them a little bit of a bone, or it's an odd feature to do. And then they throw all those figures in on the back end. Like, it's easy to throw a figure in because you're not doing anything to the piece. You're probably going to release it anyway, or release a version of it. So all you got to do is change it up and release it with the Razor Crest.
Yeah. And then all the carbonite blocks were part of it.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I got to tell you something else. Speaking of the freaking carbonite blocks, and then we'll come back. But I got a little from Sideshow. It's Regal Robot. I've got a little Razor Crest. crap, Han Solo in carbonite, just his head. And my grandson goes up to it and goes, the Mandalorian does that on his ship. And I'm like, you're so freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
He's
That's
like,
cool.
He's telling me stuff. And I'm like, oh, I love you so much.
Making you proud.
He is. He's making me a proud Wampa. So
that's awesome. And then let's see, set photos to Andor, the Disney Plus series about Cassian Andor leaked online.
Oh, did
and
they?
It was like it was kind of like a street scene. And they built a full set, so it's almost like an entire entire street just filled with buildings. You can kind of envision like a chase running down this whole thing, but I kind of appreciated seeing an actual set and not the wide open spaces that you kind of see in The Mandalorian. Because even when you're in town on Navarro and stuff, you know that somewhere in the background is an extension that kind of goes on forever through the void system.
Did you hear about the town because they built it really close? It's basically a reservoir that they rented for like 3 or 4 years, the length of the series, and then they built that town in the reservoir. Mm-hmm. But then there's a town that's like a mile or two from it, and they're all mad because it's a little hodunk town, but little, I don't know what the right word, backwoods or little sleepy. They call it a sleepy town, and they're all mad.
Sleepy village town,
and they're mad that all these noises are happening and all these people are in and there's traffic, and it was a whole big story that they're mad.
It's all part of this set, and I've heard that it was part of Obi-Wan, but I think it's actually Andor. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough listening to fireworks every night if that's what they're doing on set.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, but I would imagine it'd be pretty loud because I know. Gunshots and stuff, you can hear them pretty far off in the distance, so I bet it would be annoying.
And then Alan Tudyk is not returning as K2SO.
At least in the first season is what they're saying.
Yeah, but I thought this was only going to be one season. I thought it was a one-shot.
Huh.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, who knows? But I thought it was just 12 episodes and that was it.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be fun to see how they met and stuff. I mean, you'd have to do it, though.
Yeah, I was kind of excited to see that relationship because it's kind of a classic Laurel and Hardy kind of bond that they share. And you kind of see some of that in Rogue One, but with Jyn Erso there, she kind of disrupts that relationship. So I kind of wanted to see that buddy kind of show.
Yeah.
And it's not a slapstick. I get it. It's not a slapstick as Laurel and Hardy.
Right. But they are. I mean, it does, when he hits them and I can hit you harder or whatever. Yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from that relationship. Speaking of TV shows, this is totally, it's Star Wars related just because Carrie Fisher's in it, but on Amazon Prime, there's a show called The Catastrophe that we just started watching because there's not a whole lot of good TV on right now. And we're watching it and the guy calls his mom and Carrie Fisher picks up the phone.
Uh-huh.
So Carrie Fisher's got it's got to be her last role because it's from 2015 and there's 4 seasons of it. So, I mean, it's got to be her last role, but she's funny in it. Cause you could, I don't want to give too much away, but there's they're having a party and she's in the background on eBay bitching about this guy that keeps sniping her and stuff. So she does a good job.
I'll have to check that out.
It's fun just to see her. I mean, it's like a rom-com romantic comedy, but it's it's done very well. And it's got some, if you don't like curse words and you don't like sex, there's some of that in there, but it's a British comedy. So that stuff's all in that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's just part of their DNA.
Right. Which just blows my mind with, it's just funny. Because everybody's in here and we're like, oh no. And they're like, boobs. Here you go.
Throw some of those in your face.
Right. Have you seen all the Bernie memes that are coming up?
Yes. Yeah, left and right. Yeah. Those are pretty funny when they put them all in the Star Wars world.
Right. They got one with them in the Razor Crest. And yeah, I think they actually did one of him on the Jabba's throne at the end of the Book of Boba Fett, or the beginning or whatever. So
yeah, that'll be gold for days.
Yeah.
Did you see the Hot Wheels child with his pram?
That everybody was griping about that, but I get it because they've got the whole ship thing going. You know, they did an ATST and they did a Razor Crest, so it only makes sense.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, and then the people were also griping because they did the vehicle, the car version of them, and it just doesn't look right. It's like none of those cars look right because they're characters turned into cars.
Yeah, those are just weird and kind of inventive and creative. And I mean, I have an R2D2 one here that someone gave me, my nephew gave me, and I mean, they are what they are. They're kind of fun, but I definitely want that pram.
It's gonna look cool. I probably need to get it just because I've got the ATST and the Razor Crest. I picked those up before the show even came out. I was at Walmart and found them, and it's one of those where you find them, you better buy them.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I have those too.
Did you open them?
Yeah, they're open.
Okay.
I only open. Yeah. They're not action figures, so I open them.
That AT-ST is just badass, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy the full size version of it, but I had the Black Series version, which is just a repaint of, and it never stood up right. I can never get it to stand up. So yeah, I don't know what it was. I picked it up for like $15, and I ended up selling it for what I had in it because I was just that pissed off at it.
That's funny because it does stand up pretty well in the box that I have.
Well, you never unboxed it.
I never, yeah. So going into some of the rumors, so I don't know if you saw Yak Face. They posted on their social media channels something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, as teasers for upcoming stuff in the Star Wars line for Hasbro. And I thought it'd just be cool to kind of break down what they might be teasing. If you're up for it.
Yeah, man, let's do it because I'm interested in that.
So I think for something old, I think it's part of the vintage collection, and I think it's part of the re-releases that they're doing. Because what they did was they put card backs kind of 4 in a row next to each other, and they kind of put it out just like, I like these card backs. But if you actually went into it and you kind of realized that the first 4 were the first line of re-releases, the second 4 were the second line of re-releases, the third line of 4 was the current line that's out in shelves right now, and then there's a fourth line which included Hoth Luke, the Emperor's Royal Guard, Han Solo in his trench coat, and Admiral Akbar. So I think those are the next wave of the re-releases, which I myself am pretty excited about because I never grabbed the Emperor's Royal Guard, and that one's selling for $80 to $100. It was one of those that was released in the original run, like on Amazon.com, and they sold out like almost instantly. And I would love the opportunity to grab that. And it also coincides with the rumor that the Emperor is coming to the vintage collection.
I got to give it to Hasbro because they do kind of, if something goes up in price, they do like kind of sticking it to scalpers every now and again.
If that was really the case, they would be going to do some of the clones that are a couple $100. Like Ahsoka right now is astronomical. $300 to $400.
Jesus.
There's bounty hunters there's like Fennec Shan, which is not Fennec Shan, Bastilla Shan or something like that. That figure is a couple $100. Like they're releasing these like peasant Anakin Skywalker in peasant disguise, which really is not a figure anybody's asking for. Yeah, it's like $60, but when you compare that to Ahsoka, that's couple $100 who was just on The Mandalorian, why not re-release that one instead?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Yak Face right now on their IG. And I'm seeing the stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. They teased something borrowed, which I think from their tease, it's the Gaming Great series, which is part of the Black series, where GameStop had re-released some of the action figures that came in video games. So there was, for example, Jedi Knight Revan, which is from Galaxy of Heroes, I guess. There was the Scout Trooper and the Purge Trooper, which were all part of Fallen Order. Sorry, I didn't write that down, so I'm going from memory. So I think that line's moving over to the vintage collection, which would make sense because they did that with the carbonized figures. You know, those became part of the 3 3/4. 3
3 3/4 guys are definitely passionate about, and they do it. It's almost like a Star Trek versus Star Wars feud between the Black Series and the vintage collection guys.
Yeah, you know, if you're only collecting the vintage collection, you'd be upset that you got 16 new figures this past year, and Black Series that's where the money is for Hasbro right now.
Yeah, they're charging $20 to $30 for a figure, and we're paying for it.
And there's rumors that the cost of making a 3 3/4 inch figure is the same as the Black Series figures. And so there's a higher markup with the Black Series figures. So you get more money that way. So that's where obviously if you're a business, that's where you would go. You would go with the Black Series.
Right. I mean, it only makes sense, man.
Yeah. They also tease something blue with the Black Series logo. So I'm wondering if one of the so the two possibilities there, because they were very, very vague with that, would be something from the Rise of Skywalker, because that is, I would say, the blue line. Because if you look at the graphics that they put on the side, the Rise of Skywalker has like a blue theme to it. So it maybe it's Hoth, maybe it's Rise of Skywalker. Those are the two blue ones. But also the blue line of the Black Series, there's a possibility that they're going to bring back something from that line. Which might be the Jedi Knight Luke from Return of the Jedi. Maybe they'll make that part of the Mandalorian line.
Why not? Yeah. They've already got the figure. All they have to do is do the card back, man.
Yep. So I think that's all the Yak Face rumors I had.
Yeah. Do you think, because you're talking like something old, something borrowed, something blue, that's the same stuff they do to a bride at a wedding. So as you're going through all this, I'm like, what if they're talking about some kind of wedding, you know, and maybe they're doing, you know, a Padme Anakin thing, or
maybe. Who knows?
Right.
Something new, I think, is the Emperor. I think the Emperor is coming to the vintage collection line.
And he's never been released in a vintage collection.
He's been released as Return of the Revenge of the Sith, but he hasn't been. The Return of the Jedi version of the Emperor hasn't been added to the line yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I know. Go ahead.
No, go.
I know they did like some pops. They did a pop of him from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah, it could be Rise of Skywalker. It could be Return of the Jedi. But if they're re-releasing the Emperor's Royal Guards, it makes me think that it would go with that. So it would be Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Yeah, why not do a whole Return of? Because what do a whole Return of the Jedi thing where you got the Emperor's throne room or whatever? But what? Well, I was just thinking the Vader. They just released a Vader, but he was on a Rogue One card, right?
Yes, which is pretty. It's a pretty cool card because Vader's got his fist up. You know, he's got laser blasts all around him. It's a pretty cool card back.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it's hard for me to keep. I don't keep up with the vintage lines because I just don't want to be tempted. So.
Yeah.
You know, and I barely keep up with the Black Series. I barely keep up with the Black Series. It's when I see or hear that a figure that I want's coming out, then I pick it up. But dude, speaking of I should have said something about this at the beginning of the show when we were talking about stuff, but just now that we're back on the Black Series, I've got lucky at Target and found, I guess they just put out their Din Djarin and the Child. And I picked some up for some guys in the club, but they want $37 for that figure.
I thought that was a $30 figure.
No, they were $37, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Unless they charged me wrong, but those figures were $37.
I'm looking up on the app right now, and this is listed as $34.99 on the app.
Okay, so $34.99. That's I ended up giving because $35. I'm sorry because I told everybody $37. That way I got a little covered my taxes and stuff. But yeah they were $35 for that figure, which I guess it makes sense. But damn.
But does it though?
No.
I don't know. No, it's
I
a lot of money.
yeah. And last week you were bitching about the exclusivity of stuff and like Target and
Yeah.
imagine, dude, that's why I got out of Funkos. Cause
Um,
at least you can go to a store or, okay, I'm going to Target to get this. And to me, Target would be better than just going to like the Funko store and buying it because what Funko does is they would release one figure and have like 2,000 of them, and you had to go to their website to buy it, and you had to be lucky, and you had to be right there to buy it
yeah.
to get it. So I feel your pain about the exclusivity. So I picked up one of the Boba Fett's a few months ago, and I saw that I got it, and I was waiting. I didn't count it in my, that I had it in my collection until it showed up at my door because I kept waiting for it to get canceled, or I was amazed that I got it. So yeah, I
That
feel
that that Funko game is extremely frustrating, and I can't imagine trying to collect Hasbro and Funko at the same time.
no, it's and then when you go to sell them, you get like a quarter of what you got into them. And
Yeah. Yeah, there's someone I saw selling like some of those Funkos for $6, and it's just because nobody wants them. They
right,
make them. They make so many that the value of some of them are just not anywhere near what they used to be. Like you're saying.
yeah, you have to make money in the Funko game. You've had to get in it 10 years ago, or you have to get the very very rare exclusives because there's a Boba Fett that they only made like 1,000 of for New York or Emperor Emerald City Comic Con, maybe. I
Hmm.
don't know. And if you can get your hands on that one, it's worth money. Just like the Marty McFly I've got, where they have 1,000 of them. That thing's worth triple what I paid for it.
Yeah.
It's worth in the $300 range because
Yeah.
they were only made 3,000 of them. So
And
that's
it creates an environment where scalpers will try to grab it just to make money, not because they want it, which you would think is the reason why Funko would make these exclusives is for the people who are passionate about Boba Fett. No, these a lot of the times it's scalpers that grab them just to resell them.
yeah, it's scalpers and bots, and the people that did Plastic Empire, they did the glow in the dark Marty, and they did their damnedest to not let bots get them and try to keep it away from scalpers. I mean,
I
I'm sure
appreciate
it.
that.
Yeah, they went through probably 3 or 4 rounds trying to sell those figures just to make sure it got into collectors' hands as much best as they could.
Speaking of Funko, some more news. They're releasing two Rays, an Emperor from Rise of Skywalker and Ben Solo shrugging from Rise of Skywalker this week.
Right. I
If
the
anyone cares.
I like I said, I can't even look at them. I mean, they're cool, and I got to stick to my Back to the Future and my Boba Fett run, and just kind
Yeah.
of leave the rest alone because yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. I've already
Yep.
I still got probably 200 of them sitting right next to me, but they're half of them's my wife's, half of them's mine, and my daughter's got a shelf. So I'm yeah. Damn you, Funko. You got me. Fool me once.
Never again.
Never again. Because I even tried selling them at a toy show, and we didn't get, we got a few hits, but people just didn't care. It was
Yeah.
bad.
You want some more news?
Yeah, man, keep going.
This is not paid advertisement or anything like that, so I just want to make sure that's said prior to me going into this because Figure Shield is a company that makes protective cases for action figures, and they
Uh-huh.
don't just make it for Star Wars; they make it for Marvel and different lines. They make it for the one I'm talking about here specifically is what they call the SW40 cases, which is their 40th anniversary case for the Black Series line for the 40th anniversary figures. And I've had a problem with these because first of all, they're great. They protect the cases, they protect the figures perfectly. They fit really well. They're tight and snug. They don't make any dent marks into the figures themselves or the card backs. But where they place the hole on the top part so you can kind of add it to like because I have everything set up like it's a store display. So they're hung on racks. And where they place the hole is not where the center of gravity is on the figure. So all of my figures are kind of slightly curved to the right as they hang on the excuse me, to the left as they hang on the, I don't know if I'm describing this right, they don't hang right. They all switched at an angle because the center of gravity is not right. So they've gone back and they've added a second hole to it. So no matter where your figure is, it should hang straight now, which I appreciate.
Awesome. So is it just like a hole that you can put a peg in, or is it like you got a
Yeah,
hole?
yes, exactly. It's the peg hole. The peg hole has been placed in the wrong area. They kind of said like, I got to take a deep breath so I can make sure I explain this right. So if the hole on the card back is on the left side, they just went ahead and added the hole to their figure shield protector on the left side without considering where the center of gravity, how the center of gravity shifts on the card if you move up an inch.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And it seems like with this new release, the improved cases they have. So if you do collect the 40th anniversary figures, I recommend protecting them personally. And I use these cases, and it looks like they've gone ahead and made some improvements and tried to fix that curve that happens when you hang it on a shelf.
I'm not even that OCD, and it would bother me.
Yeah, it bothers me if they're kind of slightly angled. I might go get a hole puncher and just punch a hole to fix it. But yeah, that's that. And then the vintage collection book. Have you heard anything about that?
No.
Okay, so back in March of 2019, there was this project called Blue Milk, which was created by some of the guys that did Rebel Scum. It included some people who worked on the vintage collection line, and they did this whole Kickstarter campaign, which exceeded their goals. So they had tons of extra funds, and there's tons of tiers that we unlocked because of that. It was supposed to be released late in 2019. No, excuse me, early 2020, but because of COVID and everything that happened in China where all the production happened, things got delayed. And so things started to pick up again towards the end of 2020, and they started to get some of their proofs in. And when they looked at their proof pages, the colors were off. So then they had to go back and change that all over again. So this was supposed to originally come in March of 2020 to like our mailboxes. We still haven't received it, but it looks like they fixed all the color issues. The proof should come in early February of 2021, and they anticipate getting approval in March, and the books will be shipped out in May of this year. And the cool thing about this book was they got Ken Simmons, who did a lot of the original photography for the vintage figures. He came back and he was making posters, and they have new scenes shot for this book. So I'm very excited to get it in hand and look at it and kind of soak it in.
Awesome.
So that's the update on that. I'm very excited about it. I also forgot to mention that I picked up Cromelin Strikes Back and A New Proof, which are two books that talk about the creation of the vintage line and how they came about with the proofs and all the different variants with the with the card backs. So those are pretty cool. I've gone through A New Proof. Have you seen these before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I've gone through A New Proof, which covers A New Hope, and they kind of talk about how they developed the look of it, how when you would walk into a toy store, it was all blue for boys, pink for girls, and they went with black on purpose to stand out between all the pink and the blue on the shelves. And so that's how they came to that black background on the Star Wars action figure line, how they came with the racetrack. But then they would interview people who saved some of the proofs that are tough to find right now or are very, very expensive. And it was just really touching to kind of read about their experience and how they save some of this stuff and how they develop some of this stuff, and then learn later on that they passed away because, everyone's getting older. We're 40 years past the creation of some of these figures. And, I don't know, I just found some of that touching.
Yeah. I like that kind of stuff. I haven't gotten into it, but it is fun to hear the people talk. And I've been lucky enough to meet a couple of designers through all the travels that, we do. And we're lucky enough to have a couple of them or at least one of them that lives in Atlanta. And, you run into them at toy shows, and you run into them as long as you're cool with them, they're cool. And it's fun hearing their stories.
Yeah. And they had a list of, this guy brought a bunch of proofs to Celebration 2, and he sold them for like $100 or so.
Right.
And it's crazy to see the list and know how much these things are selling for nowadays. If you'd want a proof, that was the time. Celebration 2 was the time to pick one up.
I've heard stories of that, well, yeah, the guy just shows up or this couple shows up with a whole box of that stuff. And yeah, they're selling it for nothing. And
that's insane.
They like stop the room sales for, that with them walking in with all that stuff. So there's nothing better than being in a good room sale where somebody shows up with cool stuff.
Absolutely. I haven't done it much myself, but I look forward to the possibilities.
Yeah. Well, there's some coming up. If things get better, 2021 hopefully will be a good year.
Yeah. The last piece of news, and then we'll move off to our main topic this week. Did you see the Hot Toys Dark Trooper that they're making?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
At $250 a piece, people are going to want 5 or 6 of them. So.
Oh God, I can't afford that.
Hot Toys makes some good stuff. I love Hot Toys and I love Sideshow. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. There's nice detail. It's got that shine that the Dark Troopers had in The Mandalorian, but at that price, I got to limit what I collect. Otherwise, I'm just going to be surrounded by boxes everywhere.
We're coming to that conclusion because we had one of those figures that I'd gotten, the Din Djarin. One of the guys ended up trading for some stuff, and people know me, they know my wife, so they're like, "Hey, I've got a bunch of Ewok stuff. You want to trade?" And my wife's like, "Hell yeah, bring that on!" And as soon as it shows up, she was like, "Crap, now I need to rearrange." And
that's another problem I'm starting to deal with is where do I put stuff?
Right.
Where am I going to put this big Millennium Falcon?
Dude, you're going to have to make room. Clear a shelf off.
Maybe I can sell a kid. Take over their room.
Well, one of you got an older dog. Well, no, she's on. Yeah, I just know because she just got her license, so she's not that old. You still got a couple of years with that one.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just start putting them in your bathroom, or.
Yeah. I'll sleep on the floor. It can sleep in the bed.
There you go. I'm sure the wife would love that.
Yep.
I just wanted to bring up some toy shows, and then we'll get into our main topic. February 6th is the local toy show here, just a swap meet in Ackworth. Just look up Toy Swap Ackworth or whatever on Facebook. You'll find it. And then I did share it on our Facebook group, our Facebook page, so you can see the event. Toylanta is going to be March 19th through 21st. And that's an awesome show here in Atlanta. Hopefully that'll still be on, still be able to go off. They had to cancel it last year. And then there's another this is more Star Wars related, but they've kind of done a little bit more. It incorporated more of the sci-fi stuff. It's called ICCC. They're in Nashville. We're planning on being there as a show. Jason and I will be running around interviewing people. So come tell us hi. That'll be April 16th through the 18th in Nashville. So all 3 of those are cool shows. So if you can make them and if you're comfortable, come on out.
Yep. I like to meet everyone 6 feet away from me.
Yeah. We'll fist bump you or something.
Air bump. We'll play air guitar together.
Yeah, and this is sort of Jason and I. We wanted to talk about toy shows and how we feel going into 2020 because, yeah, like I just said, March is around the corner and there's a big toy show at the end of it, and then there's April. It is another big toy show. It'll be interesting. So we wanted to talk about our feelings and how we felt toy shows coming up in 2021. We're going to be handled. And yeah, I'm curious because I'm looking at that Toylanta and I'm looking at old pictures, man. And you're asses to elbows, and it'll be curious, man. I don't think it'll be like that this year.
No.
I talked to Blake because him and Ryan, they'll have a booth, and I've asked him, and he goes, he has no clue how they're setting up or anything. So how are your feelings about it?
Yeah, I might go for a day, but if it's packed and crowded, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not safe, and I don't want to be part of a super spreader event. And there's also, The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that Cobb County has the variant of COVID-19, which is more contagious. So I'm just very cautious about that. Last night my wife and I were thinking about going out to dinner, but then we were like, well, maybe not with that COVID variant out there. We don't want to get it. And yeah, I don't know. It just freaks me out because it's the possibility of what really gets to me is the possibility of long-term damage because of COVID. And that makes me think like maybe I shouldn't go to some of these things. Like we went to IKEA once and I just had to get the hell out of there because people were just not socially distant, and it got to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just worried about toy shows.
Right. I mean, the one on the 6th is outside, and that's been pretty. People are pretty well, social distance and stuff, and it's spaced out because you've got a big parking lot. And the Toylanta thing, it definitely concerns me as far as being able to keep the social distance. I'm sort of in between everything. I can see both sides of it. So the way I've kind of looked at it is if I talk to you and you've got a mask on, I put my mask on, that type of thing. And if I'm an in-betweener, and I don't know if that's a good place to be, but that's where I found myself. And my talking to my wife, she was kind of against doing the vaccine, and then she changed her attitude, I guess, because of everything going on. And I've always been, she didn't want to get it. Now she wants to get it. And I've always been, I'm going to get it because I want to go back to normal as fast as possible.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I want to get back to this kind of stuff because I miss it. I miss seeing everybody. So that's sort of where I'm at. And I mean, I guess Toylanta's in a new place. They were going to do it. It was their first year last year. So I'm hoping they can keep it, because they were doing it in a place that they'd outgrown 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they finally, I guess, saw the writing on the wall and found the bigger spot. And I know they've done cons there before. So, let's see what happens. I don't know. And I see they're moving this year too. Last year, the last couple of times they've been in an arena, and it was nice and open. So it felt like there were half the people in there that were actually in there. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's just going to be risky. I don't know. I mean, I'll definitely be at the toy swap because that's open air. Mm-hmm. And if I really want to, I can go to my car and leave because it's no extra cost. Toylanta is going to be an extra cost. You're going to have to buy to get tickets to get in. But I think how much is a ticket to Toylanta?
It's like $10.
Yeah, so it's nothing. And it's like, I waste that on coffee, every 2 weeks. So I'll go in for the day and check it out. And is AFA going to be there?
No, they don't do Toylanta.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
I need acrylic cases.
Have you checked out Ian Sanderson stuff?
Yeah, I'll grab something from him.
Yeah,
it's just convenient.
Yeah, I like Marcy. I've tried talking her into going to Toylanta, but it's just a different crowd. It's more of the G.I. Joe guys don't grade their figures like us Star Wars guys do. So even though it's in their backyard, for them, they can't. It's hard to justify them going because they're like, we've got to bring our whole setup. We can't just go with the banner. We've got to bring all these displays out. We've got to bring the tables and the banners, and we got to pay people to go set up and tear down. And to them, the cost it's not a cost-effective way to advertise the company.
Right. That makes sense.
It is a bummer that they're not there, but I mean, Toylanta's fun. You've never been, have you?
No, and I haven't told you this, and I was saving it for the podcast. I've only been to like 4 or 5 toy shows in my life.
Uh-huh.
Like not a lot. And that's stretched over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was excited about Toylanta last year because of that. Mm-hmm. I was looking forward to going.
I've been to more, but that's just because I've gone to Toylanta enough. And Toylanta, I've been going for 10 years to Toylanta, and I'm lucky enough to have a wife that's like supportive of it and enjoys going and enjoys looking and enjoys collecting. We recorded when we first started the podcast, we did like a pilot, and it never got aired, but we talked about Toylanta, and you could just hear, because it was like the weekend Toylanta was canceled, and I was just not in a mood. It was so down. It was bad.
Wah,
It
wah.
really was. Because I look forward to it every year. And, you end up making friends, and you made friends through all this stuff, and we made great contacts. My daughter found a comic she liked. For years, she followed, it was called Hero Cats, and she followed the artist who made it and brought the guy. We found him one year, and then the next year she went and she made him a piece of fan art, and they kind of had a relationship, at least through Toylanta, and we've ran to him. There's another show in Charlotte called Heroes Con. And we've made that trip a couple of years, and we've stopped just because it got kind of repetitive, and it, just life got in the way, and we, money, because there was other trips we had to end up taking over the years. And damn it, I love going to a good toy show. Even a bad toy show is a good toy show.
Yeah. I mean, do you go into toy shows with like a goal of getting something specific? Do you go like in with a budget? Like, how do you do toy shows?
I go in with the budget. We'll have anywhere from a $50 budget to a couple of $100 budget. And then I've gone to another I've gone to toy shows with trade bait. It just depends on where I'm at the time. And I've always got a list, but my list has gotten smaller and smaller. And right now it's just, I've got the couple of pieces that I want, and then it's just the oddball stuff, or it's whatever catches my eye. And that's sort of where I've been the past couple of years, is whatever catches my eye, is what I hunt down. And
Okay.
I learned my lesson in toy shows to start going through bins. Somebody will have a $5 bin, and you just start going through them. I don't know how they're going to do that now in the days of COVID, but because I've gone through a bin, and then Justin came right behind me and found the freaking red bar, R5, for $4. I mean, it was a beater red bar, but it had just enough of that red bar to make it $100 figure. And the guy even knew he had it in the $4 bin. He's like, yeah. And Justin just laughed at me because I'd just gone through that bin and I was looking for other stuff. So you've learned, start looking for variants, and you start asking questions, and every now and again you get lucky because the guy don't know what he has.
Are those bins typically beater bins?
Yes.
So I avoid that because I really don't like, I don't need it to be mint, but I don't want it to look like a dog chewed it up.
Right. It's not that bad. It's not like a dog. Some of them may be dog chewed, but it's not, they're played with. It's not something you would get graded.
Yeah.
But it would be, for $5, it'd be something you can give to your kids, or, like find that one variant that you've been looking for. Or it may be a pristine figure that doesn't have all the accessories.
And what do you do if you see something and it's more than your budget, but you just have to have it? Do you buy it?
I will try to work a deal, or I just buy it. I haven't seen anything like that lately, but yeah, I do. You kind of have a reserved in your head, if you do find that one piece, or you make sure you have enough room on a credit card. That's how I live my life in collecting, was, if this one piece shows up and it's a once in a lifetime piece, you just got to say screw it and put it on a credit card and deal with the consequences later.
Right. What are you going to be looking for at the toy swap or Toylanta? Anything in particular?
I look to see if I can find some prototypes, or I've found prototypes at Toylanta before. I'm going to be looking for the Galactic Hero stuff, the Phantom, hoping somebody has it and they don't know what they have.
Yeah.
Cause I've done that before too. I've got a couple of figures. That's how I got the Kanan and the Inquisitor, which they're rare figures, but it was sitting in a $3 bin at Toylanta. And when I picked it up, the guy was like, crap. But he knows me, and he honored it.
Okay.
But I think the guy that's sort of his spiel, and I think a lot of people are like that. They're like, oh man, trying to play it off. They knew what they were doing, but that's just the way they are.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
What's been your greatest find at a toy show?
I found Snapcape Luke's for $15.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How long ago?
3-4 years.
That's not bad.
No. and I found a Galactic Heroes. It was a first shot Django Fett for like $20, which should have been at least $100 figure.
Wow.
Yeah. So those have been my fun at toy shows, the fun finds. Have you found anything?
No, not like that. I'm trying to think, because like I said, my experience has been limited, and with everything that Hasbro's releasing, it's like, do I really need a toy show because I've got things pre-ordered? But no, I mean, no, I don't have anything like that. No cool stories, unfortunately. I'm kind of boring. That's why I've been controlling the conversation by interviewing you and asking you questions, because I don't have anything to add.
I mean, what toy shows have you? I mean, you've done the Celebration.
Yeah, I've been to Celebration, and typically because it's so overwhelming, the last Celebration I went to, I was looking for a vintage figure, and I picked up an Emperor with his cane and everything, because I'm still collecting, and I'm sure people already have that, but I'm still trying to recollect my childhood collection. And then I wanted something vintage collection, so I was able to pick up the re-release of Princess Leia and Hoth or Bespin, or one of those two. And then I wanted something for the sail barge, so I was able to pick up a Monomon and a Salacious Crumb for like $20 from the Power of the Force, and picked up a couple extra figures for that line for my sail barge. And that's pretty much, I try to go in with my goal. I try to stick to that, and I try to stick to my budget, because there has to be some control somewhere in the universe.
Yeah. I got real lucky the last Celebration. Because I went in 2017, and I had, I'd bought the 3-day passes, and my son lives down there, so I didn't have to pay for room and board. But right before Celebration, I had won a radio contest where I had gotten $1,000. So I was like, there's my budget for Celebration. And I blew every last bit of that $1,000 at Celebration. I've got good stories, and I've been able to do good deals. Some deals aren't been good. Some deals haven't, you sell what you bring, and then you go buy another figure.
Yeah, the thing I struggle with, like at Celebration, is knowing that there's an extra con tax added to these things, that they're more expensive than they would be like even on eBay. And so I struggle to pay some of the prices, because it's just like, it's not really worth that. You're just paying because they need to cover the cost of being at the Celebration.
Yes, I agree with that. I automatically work like 10 to 20% in my head, just because I call that, like you said, the context, or expensive to get to a show for a dealer. Because, those tables are, you could pay $500 for a booth, if not more, on a weekend. Like at Celebration, I'm sure it's outrageous. For a vendor to get in there. Because, on top of that, they've got to buy food. They've got to pay for a hotel room, and hotel rooms aren't cheap. I understand where you're coming from. But I also know, I add that into the price of stuff when I'm buying it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, if I were to go into a toy store right now, a toy show right now, what I'd be looking for. I think it would just be more vintage figures. I think there's a couple of Black Series that I have a hole in my collection. But again, like, it's just expensive. Even those holiday figures, the holiday troopers that came out this past year, right before I bought the Smuggler's Run Falcon, I was thinking about going back to collect those. And those are already $40 to $60 each. And here we are 1 month later, and I'm just like, at a toy show, that's going to be even more.
Right. Yeah, you're probably going to hit that $50 to $60 mark on those at a toy show. Jesus. Yeah. And that's what happens with there again. It's people, I don't want that crap. And then it comes out, a month later, and they're like, I should have bought it. And now they're going to go pay the $50 and not even think twice.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to let those holiday troopers go, because I really don't really want them. I just was going to add them as part of my collection, I guess, but I'd be collecting for the wrong reasons. Whereas this Falcon is really just something I love and can't wait to open it up. Yeah, I think for a toy show, I'd be looking for some more vintage figures, weapons, figures with weapons, because there's a lot of figures that I don't have with weapons.
That's you look for weapons, you look for mismatched weapons. I'm always looking at, you learn what figures supposed to have what weapons, and you can find a mismatch every now and again. So
Micro Machines, I'd be looking for those.
You find, like you just said, Micro Machines, somebody may not collect them, so they're going to go for cheap. You just never know.
I'll pick it all up.
Right. Well, that's what's fun about the toy show on the 7th or the 6th is it's a more of a mom and pop toy show. So it's people that may not do it for a living, quote unquote, that just want to get rid of their collection.
Yeah, I walked up because I went late to the last one, and I walked up and someone recognized me from the Georgia group, which was kind of funny because I was wearing my mask and I just assumed I'd be just a random person. So someone was talking to me and he was like, there's somebody over at a different booth who had the Black Series Loyalist for like $30. I'm like, dude, if you need it, grab it because that's a great price and you're not going to find it on shelves. And I think he went and grabbed it, but
nice.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to interacting with people once COVID's over and we can go to these toy shows.
Right.
I'm looking forward to meetups. I miss the meetups. I miss seeing how people display their collections because I think there's an art and a beauty to the way that people display things, and I think it tells a lot about the person themselves. But yeah, I think the way people display their collection, like when you go to an Orion's, everything is just very methodically placed and carefully placed, and he takes consideration in pairing things up. So he's got like a Mandalorian, and I don't mean just Mandalorian the show, but the characters like either Boba Fett or Jango or even the Mandalorian himself. Those are all together. He's got all of his Focus vintage collection together and carefully placed and spaced apart, and you can just see how I think Orion's a science-based person, and you can see that on display how he carefully with precision adds everything or puts everything on display, whereas you come to my collection and it's organized chaos, which I think is definitely how I think. I am an organized, chaotic thinker, and that's on display in my collection. And when you go to other people's collections, it's kind of the same thing.
Orion's correct collections. He's so detail oriented because he knows every piece and he knows where it's at and he knows why he has it and he knows what makes it different from this piece, and he'll move like this one piece out the way that maybe is common, that's hiding a ultra rare piece behind it.
Right.
And it's just, he has it like that because that's the way it should go. But yeah, I before we were talking about getting to know, meeting people and seeing people, and yeah, that's the one thing I really enjoy about going to all these shows and making the contacts and just just seeing your friends again that you only see at toy shows.
Yeah. Looking forward to life returning to normal at some point.
Right. I hope it does. I'm hoping, I really think March and April is going to be a little soon, but I'm trying to be I'm trying to be optimistic because, I don't want to get all political, but I know you're kind of, they got the tier system or whatever for the vaccine. So I'm really hoping that maybe by April things will be back to normal.
I personally think a little bit later than that. I'm not a scientist and I have no medical degree, and I'm not offering any medical advice, but I think by June, July, I have to make that disclaimer. But I think June, July, August, we might start to feel a little bit more normal.
Mm-hmm.
I think if numbers start to decrease after the holidays here and people start getting vaccinated, my mom's getting vaccinated in March, my stepdad April, my wife should be on the list soon because she's a teacher. I think things will start to improve a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping. I think I'm going to be able to sneak in on like one of the first tiers because I work in a food related industry, just because I work for a coffee company.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of, and it's not really it's a gray area when it comes up. I want to do my part and hopefully get this thing, because I'm ready. I've been ready.
Yeah. To me, to put it into Star Wars kind of mindset, for me it feels like 2020 we were waiting outside of Toys R Us for midnight, and that just went on longer than intended. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock is rolling around and we're still waiting outside to go into Toys R Us. And 2021 feels like it's the next day and you're just like, open the freaking doors already, let me get in there and get some action figures. And
it really does, man, because I'm in a lot of, because of my job, we're dealing with a lot of, it's a business to business type thing, so we're dealing with a lot of businesses, and everybody's saying June, July. First it was January, now it's June, July. So that's a scary thought.
We'll see.
Anything else to add with shows?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I didn't have much to offer, unfortunately.
Right.
And that's why I was asking you, like, the things that I'm interested in when I go to Toylanta and ICC and the swap meet. Like, what are you looking for? What should I be looking for? Like, should I be spending my time going into the $5 bins and things like that?
I mean, $5 bins, I think, is where it's at. And I may be giving away secrets, but I know some people that have gotten some hella deals at $5 bins. And ask, when you walk up to that booth, you may not see what you're looking for, but they may have it sitting in the back because a lot of these guys, they have limited space. So they put out limited product, or they'll purposely hold product back, and then when a space runs out, they'll put they sell something, they put something else out. And it's sort of a way to get you to keep coming back all weekend. One of the secrets I like, or it's not really a secret, I like waiting till a couple hours before the show closes, especially if there's something you've been looking at. You can maybe get a little bit of a better deal because people don't want to take that crap home.
Absolutely.
And then I also like if you can get, or if you have the opportunity to get into the show early, buy the extra pass, because I know Toylanta, it was like $50 and you can get into the show early on Friday. Well, to me, that's worth it because I've gotten spoiled because we've done a club table the last few years at Toylanta and we've done it at IC. So you can get in while vendors are setting up, and that's a fun time to be in a toy show because you kind of get first crack at it. Some guys, they know, some guys are dicks and some guys are cool with it. So you just got to kind of figure out who you're dealing with at the time, because people don't like you going through their stuff, or they're too busy. They've got, they're got their blinders on and they're trying to get their stuff set up, and they know it's going to take them 2 or 3 hours to do it. And you're interrupting them, and you're the fifth person to start looking at their booth. And, it's fun. I love going to toy shows. Like I said, I love getting in early and I love staying late, and love talking to people. And what I need to learn when I go in a toy show, I need to take my blinders off and just start, because you'll get, like last year at IC, last time I was stuck at trying to get a min on card FET, and I probably passed up 3 or 4 other good deals because I knew what I had in my pocket, and that's all I could afford one item. And I eventually, when I took the FET, when I was like, okay, I can't get, I'm over my skis here and I can't afford to get what I want. And I took those blinders off and just realized, just start buying, whenever you see, I was able to buy a lot more stuff because I didn't have those FET blinders on anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So have some flexibility, I guess. Yeah. Go in with a goal, but also have the flexibility to know that's a great deal. I don't have that. I want that as part of my collection. Get it.
Right. Yeah. That's have flexibility. There you go. That I really, you hit the nail on the head right there. That, be flexible with your plan. Because like you said, you never know. You could have that DT Luke show up, double telescoping Luke, and it's just too good of a deal to pass up.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. On these Facebook groups, man, you hear stories. They had some guy post that he was at a show and then went into the antique mall. And this wasn't local, but he picked up a Luke for like $30. And when he got home, it was a double telescoping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't even talk after that. I can't even imagine coming home and being like, what did I just get?
Right. Dude, I bought a early bird stand, the cardboard one, a couple of years ago at an auction, and every now and again, and because it came with figures, it just missed the Jawa. The Jawa was the only thing missing, and the only thing I could think of is maybe it was a vinyl cape and then somebody picked it off, or it got lost, or that's my thought, is it was a vinyl cape. But I'll go up to those figures and I'll tug on the lightsabers every now and again, just hoping that it'll move. But
right,
none of them do.
Right. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
So now I'm excited about the swap meet in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I really enjoy that. Like I said, because you've got mom and pops in there. You got people that just want to try to sell their collection in there, and it's a fun show. I like I said, I freaking love toy shows, and I'm excited that Martin it has started doing these. He started them right before COVID, or like a couple of years ago. He started at his house, and then it just kind of it exploded to where he has to hold it into the at the antique mall.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun to just walk the aisles and see what people had left. I did, like you were just saying, ask to see if they had anything in the back, because I was looking for those 2 Redline Black Series figures. They didn't have it.
Toy shows are fun. Collecting is fun. It's a good way to escape everything for a little bit. Jason, you have a good rest of your day. This is what